resting values. So now we're going to be taking your resting heart rate. So on the right hand, I have my stethoscope. On the left, I have my timer, which is 15 seconds. So guys, with the stethoscope, I'm going to be reading the heart rate, right? So this 15 seconds, you're gonna times it by 4 to get your beats per minute, right? So you need to make sure that your client is calm, and also make sure that your time is accurate, and then also record the beats that you're gonna be getting in that 15 seconds. So now when you multiply that times 4, it's gonna give you your beats per minute, right? So now as I recorded my values that I got, and I was able to write them down. So that is how you get your heart resting rate, right? Which is not all of it, because you're also going to move to your blood pressure as well, which you're going to move to shortly after the recording. Next, we are going to our blood pressure. We're going to be using two tools, the stethoscope and the sphygmomanometer, right? So now you need to make sure that when you place it, right, you just place it above the arteries, right, just above the arm, right? Make sure that you tie it tight enough so that you're able to get your readings, right? So your meter has a reading and you need to pump it up to 220, right? And then you're going to release the lever, and now you're going to use your stethoscope to record from when you get the heartbeat, right? So textbook value is 120 over 80, right? That's your textbook value, but you can never get the accurate number. So guys, you need to make sure that your client is sitting comfortably and they are relaxed, right? So you pump your meter. As you pump it, make sure that you place your stethoscope just on their arm, right, gentle enough to be able to get your heart readings, right? So we're gonna pump it to 220, and as soon as it gets to 220, you're gonna release the lever on your left, right? And this is how you're gonna check your blood pressure, right? So stay tuned. As you're about to release the lever, just release it at a pace that allows you to read your heart beat, right? So on this recording, we got 121, 122 over 80, and that is my high value was 120, my low value was 80, right? So that is how we got our blood pressure. And as well, after getting your readings, make sure that now you remove your tools, right? Make sure that you're going to deflate the whole meter, and do not forget to record your readings, because you have to give feedback on the pressure that you got on your client and gently remove it. And that's how you get your blood pressure. And when you're done, neatly pack your tools. Do not forget your reading. Just record it so you're able to give feedback and explain if you have to. So now next, we are moving to the BMI using the client's weight and height. So upon reading your client's height, you need to make sure that they're flat on the surface or flat on the ground. If they have shoes on, kindly ask them to remove their shoes so that you can actually now record the exact height. As we have recorded the height here, because a person's weight in kilograms or pounds divided by the square of height in meters or feet is how you're going to get your BMI, right? So now we're going to move to the next step, which is now recording the weight, right? So the weight now is going to give us accuracy on the division of the height and the weight. So as you see there, we're just recording now the weight, and as we record the weight, you're going to take it down and now divide it with the height, and that is how you're going to get your BMI. Thirdly, now we're going to move to your waist and hip ratio, right? So you need to make sure that your client is still steady, comfortable, right? And then now where we're going to start, right, we're going to start on the hip, and then from the hip we're going to take the waist ratio as well, and then we're going to divide these two using a calculator, dividing the waist size by the hip size, right? So let's just go straight to the recording. And now we are first going to take our hip ratio using a tape measure. So a tape measure now gives you the accuracy of what you are recording on your client. So let's just get started, as I'm about to get my hip ratio. There we go. So this is my hip ratio, and as you can see, the client is comfortable wearing something comfortable where I'll be able to actually now get this measurement. So upon getting this measurement, the most important thing is to record it and make sure that you actually note it down or you write it down. And now we're going to move now to the hip ratio. So I'm taking the hip ratio, making sure that I'm actually getting the right numbers around the waist, right guys? Make it as close as possible, and then now you're going to take the 2, you're going to divide the waist from the hip ratio. And number 4, now postural assessment. So you still need to make sure that your client is flat on the surface. This makes it easier now for you to actually now see your client's posture, right? Make sure that their feet are actually in line with their shoulders, as comfortable as they can be, slightly leaning towards out, right, or straight. And now you're going to be measuring now the body using the tape measure. So you can start from the knees, you can start above, right, because you're going to be measuring your shoulders, you're going to be measuring the chest, also you're going to be measuring the hip and the knees, right? So as we're starting to measure the left shoulder, which is his right, so we're recording the right shoulder, and now we're getting the measurement, and we're going to compare it now to his left shoulder, which is on my right. And now with what I'm reading, the body is slanting a bit to the left, right? But now that's not where we end. We're actually going to record now the mid section, right? Ratio from the neck going down to the chest, right? As I'm explaining the slant, which is a bit to the left, right? But we don't just end there. Let us examine the whole body, get a better understanding, right? So we're going to look at the socket of the knees and see where actually the one is, right? So let's get the slant again to the left. I'm measuring using my tape measure for accuracy. So now the left side, the left socket is a bit lower than the right socket. So that is how I got my posture when it comes to the lower body, which is the knees, right? So we did the shoulders, we did the from the neck going down to the body fat assessment, right? So we're going to use what is called a skin caliper. You need to make sure now that your client is still relaxed, because now you're going to be measuring the tricep, the back, and the stomach, right? So you need to make sure that your client is relaxed. And now the arm, you actually measure it from the back, right? So now you're going to use your tape measure, which you're quickly going to display, and now you're going to measure for accuracy, right? So now we're just going to place your tape measure, which is what you're going to be using, and then you're going to be using your skin caliper. So you need to make sure that you're holding the skin caliper for about 15 seconds to actually now get a better reading. And also, if you want to go for your second reading, make sure that you give the skin a rest, right, so that it doesn't get irritated as well, so that you can actually get accurate reading, right? So now we are actually going to start on the stomach, and the stomach is where we're going to start, right? We're going to use our skin caliper and put it on there, hold it for a couple of seconds so that we actually now allow it to set to where the skin is, and where we'll be able to get the fat percentage or the fat that is in the skin, right? And then when you get your recording, the most important thing is to write it down. And as you write it down, you're going to move now to another part of the body, which is going to be the arm. So on the arm, which is the tricep, I'm going to be using my tape measure as I previously explained, right? I'm just going to look for the middle of the tricep, and I'm going to mark it for accuracy, and then I'm going to put my tape measure sideways so that I can get the part of the tricep, right? So as it's showing there, I'm going to use my skin caliper, grab where the skin is, and putting my caliper, then I'm going to hold it for a couple of seconds while I get my readings. And it is very important for you to actually record your readings when you actually get them. That is the most part of this assessment. As you can see me going back and forth to actually record my readings. And now we are going to the back. Make sure that your client's back is relaxed. If you are not getting tissue at the back, just make them gently put their hand behind so you can get tissue to pull. I'm going to examine it for you now, but not like this because this is flexed. So get your clients to relax so you can get the tissue. Then you're going to clip the tissue, right? And then as you clip the tissue, it's going to be much more easier now for you to have your reading. At my caliper upside down, but I still got my reading and I was able to record it. And that is how you get your body fit percentage. And we move to the flexibility, which is we're going to be using the back arc technique. So now as I'm assessing my client, I want to understand his whole fitness levels and now his flexibility. So the back arc, I'm going to measure it using the tape measure to see how flexible he is. And for accuracy reasons, I am going to do 2 recordings, right? So I'm just going to have him gently arc his back up using his arms, right? So from the chin to the surface of where my client is, I'm going to measure that using my tape measure. But now this might not be accurate, and I'm just going to ask him to do it again so that I can get an accurate number. The first one was actually just to stretch out, and now the second one is actually my actual reading of the back arc. We are now checking for power using the medicine ball. So the medicine ball is planted or placed in a comfortable flat surface, and I am going to be demonstrating on how he can do the medicine ball push, right? So flat on the ground and making sure that he stands just right next to it. And I'm going to be demonstrating to him, right? Checking the form, making sure that his back is straight, and he's going to push on the medicine ball, right? So there's different variations to check this fitness level, which you can use one hand, you can use both hands. As I'm creating a program for a new person, I'm just going to make it as safe as possible. And his medicine ball push is going to be 2 hands on a count of 5, which is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the form was accurate, and now we're going to go for endurance, and the endurance is going to be a count of 10 push-ups. So on the 10 push-ups, the most important thing is your hand placement and your body. So posture is very important, and form when you actually do your workouts. So be flat on the surface. Make sure that your core is also straight, because you engage your core, and you go down for your push-up using your arms, pushing up using your tricep muscles. And now checking his muscle endurance by giving 10 push-ups, because we are testing his overall fitness levels. And on the count of 2, 3, 4, 5, and his form was actually on point, and making sure that you're preventing injuries. So on a count of 10, that is how you're going to check your client's muscle endurance. So this isn't very important, especially now testing out your new client. And we're going to move to the cardiovascular workout. For the cardiovascular workout, we are going to use a step test. So we're going to be doing this exercise for approximately 3 minutes to check the heart's recovery rate, right? So you're going to need a stepper, place it on the floor, and you're going to be stepping on it using your right and your left foot, one after the other, alternating as fast as you can, right? So now we're going to be doing this workout, and we're going to be recording it as I've demonstrated. My client is actually doing it, completing his time. So now we're actually going to put a timer, and after the timer is done, we are going to check how long it takes for him to recover. As we actually see him still going on his step test, which shows him being very fit. However, towards the end, you can see the fatigue. We'll move to now part 2, which is your 2 cardiovascular workouts, which form part of the workout program. So first, we're going to do your jumping jacks, which are being demonstrated. And now you need to make sure that your form is all right and there's enough space, your body is upright, and you jump, and we make an example of a star sign or a starfish, right? And then the second workout is your high knees. So you take your knees as high as it is safely to do so, shuffling also with your arms. You need to engage your arms in this workout. And now we're going to start with the jumping jacks. So we're going to go for about 10 jumping jacks, and after the jumping jacks are done, we are quickly going to transition into the high knees. And into the transition, you just need to demonstrate again to make sure that your client does not get lost in the transition, or ending up doing something which is of a wrong form. So we're going again for 10, as we are giving a count on number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? So these 2 cardiovascular workouts can be tiring, and recovery is very important. So now we're going to move now to our part 2 of 2 resistant workouts, which are upper body workouts. So first, we're going to go to a seated machine shoulder press. So now with this workout, you need to make sure that the client understands the machine, and now you need to help them understand the form so that they do not injure themselves in the execution of the workout. So now another important thing when actually doing this type of workout or doing resistant workout, so you need to make sure that your client puts a weight that is actually safe for them to engage in the workout without straining either their back or their shoulders, right? So now going for this shoulder press is actually safer than actually doing dumbbells because it's controlled and monitored by the machine, right? So we're going to go for 5 reps of resistant training on a shoulder press, and making sure that the form and the elbows are actually in the right position, right? So now upon execution of this workout, we're just going to do 5 reps with adequate weight which you can control. And from there, we're going to move to what is called a seated chest press. So a seated chest press is a chest press machine where you actually also going to check your weight, right? And now you pressing this as similar to a bench press or a dumbbell bench press, right? But on a seated machine, it supports and protects your elbows, and making sure that you actually push it all the way to engage your chest, because this workout actually works your pecs, right? So now upon setting up the client, you need to make them understand the machine, the handles, where to hold, and also it has a lever to actually disengage the machine, right? So now the form, as I'm executing there for my client, it is very important making sure that they do not overstretch a certain muscle or tear any. And now the machine is also equipped with a seat for different heights, and now he's about to go for his workout, and now setting up a weight which is safe for him to do so, disengaging the machine, right? And the sitting position is very important. You need to make sure that the height best suits your client. And now he will actually press this machine, which is now going to help him now build his chest and upper body muscles, right? And on the part 2 of the resistance training of your lower body workout, you're going to do 2 workouts, which is your seated or your leg extension, right? And your second type workout is going to be your laying hamstring curl, which you're going to demonstrate after. So the most important thing is to demonstrate the height adjustments for the client, which he knows where to actually put his seat back or fourth for him to safely execute the workout while engaging his quad muscles, right? And also the weight is very important because different workouts and different muscle groups require different weights, and the adjustment on your lever on above, it's actually to assist of people of different weights, right? So now, as you can see us adjusting the bottom part of the machine so that it can further assist him if he happens to be taller or shorter, right? So now this is a very important part, and upon him executing the workout, you need to make sure that his legs are stable, his back is stable on the seat, and now he uses the first lever to adjust his leg placement. This makes it easy now to actually execute the workout in good form and actually also good speed, right? So this workout is actually good to actually work on your quads. And now moving on to the second resistant training machine, we're going to be doing your laying hamstring curl. So this workout is actually important for your hamstring, which is actually the muscle that is behind your quads, slightly under your glutes. So this actually forms a part of your leg workout, and then on the execution you actually curl it backwards, unlike the leg extension machine. So now also here it's very important to actually now adjust your weight, and also the machine has a lower lever and a lever that's actually slightly above it. The lower lever is just for your calf placement so that it's actually easier now for you to curl it, and the top left lever now is to actually now extend or unextend the machine. So the further it is and you curling it actually now engages more of your hamstrings, and upon demonstrating you can see actually the client going for his 5 reps, making sure that he's actually now using this machine properly and upon demonstration. For our core workout, we're going to use the Total Gym Core Trainer, and this is actually a machine which actually assists now in you training your core or strengthening your core, and it is very important for you now to actually do it properly. As I'm demonstrating there, you need to place your knees on the lever that goes up and down, but now upon going up you need to squeeze your core, right? Release, you squeeze, and then you release. So now this engages your core muscles, and the more you do it, the more repetitions you actually do it with consistency, that actually now works on your core, right? So upon demonstrating this workout, I will take him through his own reps, right, making sure that he's getting the proper count, he's actually executing it properly. So as you can see, he's actually engaging his core, his back is flat, not arcing outwards. So now this protects his back and his elbows are properly placed. So now the only muscle that is working is the core. And upon conclusion of the whole program, we are doing the PNF back stretch, where he's going to be actually laying flat, and we are going to be using his lower body to help him stretch his lower back. So your client needs to lay flat, arms out, and lifting now one leg, and then you're going to place it in a place where you're going to be able to twist it, right? So you twist all the way down, and you do this on either or both legs, right, one after the other. This helps now the lower back stretch, and now this is actually now very good for your lower back stretches, especially for people that suffer from lower back pain from training. And here we're actually stretching out his hamstring because he used the hamstring machine. So the stretch is very important for after you have worked out a particular muscle. So here the particular muscle that was used is his hamstrings. So now it is very important to stretch these out to avoid cramps, to avoid muscles tearing as well after the training. So we're going deep in as far as possible, or as far as it is safe to do so. So now this is our total program with the stretches involved and the workout involved. So now the stretching part relaxes the body, and now it prevents now the muscles being torn or the muscles being sore, right? And now taking him on the back arc, which is now going to be our last. And we're going to hold the stretch for about 5 seconds, but you can hold it between 15 to 30 seconds to complete a proper stretch. And that's it for our video.